Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here. And once again, I am here this week to show you how to make this week's cocktail. This week, the cocktail, chosen by myself, is called Life on Mars. So, I'm going to start with a highball glass with ice. To that, I'm going to take coconut rum. I'm going to add 1 ounce coconut rum. Need more coconut rum. Then we're going to add 1 ounce blue curacao. 1 ounce. Next, lemonade. 3 1/3 ounces. Whatever. 1, 2, 3 1/3. Finally, we're going to top that off with orange juice. We should do it. Next we stir. Kind of a freaky green color. Like little men from Mars, maybe. And we serve and enjoy. Yeah, I like it. Tastes a lot like the Shark Lady, I think. Very tropical. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Question of the day. Can you overuse the montage in a movie? Well, we definitely find the answer to that question in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, number 48, Invaders from Mars. This 1953 movie definitely utilizes the montage. There are military montages, many of them. Aliens running through tunnels montages, lots of them. And even a movie summary montage on a young boy as he runs to save his life. So can you overuse the montage in a movie? The answer, as seen in this week's episode, is yes. Yes, you can. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm Karen.
And welcome to episode 48 of the Scary Spirits podcast. The podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed, Karen. Episode 48. Getting close to 52, Karen. That will be 1 year. Do you have anything special planned for episode 52, Karen? Karen, do you?
Was it my pick or your pick?
No.
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh, I'm the even, so it will be my pick. But
I think we can
I think we should do a retrospective.
discuss something. We can, come up with something special. I'm sure. Don't you?
Well, we've both been described as special, I'm sure, at one point or another. So seems appropriate.
Yes. But we're almost there. Like 4 weeks away.
Exciting stuff.
Crazy. All right, Karen. I do have, sadly, I do have a correction from actually episode 45, Karen. Voodoo Woman.
You made a mistake in Voodoo Woman? Is that possible? Or did I make it?
Yeah, I didn't say I did, Karen.
It was me.
So you found the drink recipe on Tibby's, right, Karen? And
I thought I did. Did I
yeah,
not?
yeah, you did. Tibby's,
Mhm.
right? Do you know where Tibby's is located, Karen? Do you know?
Oh, it's not New Orleans?
So obviously you don't know where it is
No,
located.
I guess not.
They have 3 locations, Karen. None of them are in New Orleans. They're all in Florida.
Interesting. I wonder how I got all discombobulated. Was
Well,
I
it is-
drinking?
They do bill themselves as a New Orleans
Oh, like a New Orleans cafe
Yeah,
restaurant.
dinner, diner, whatever. like
Gotcha.
restaurant. But yeah, so I was talking to my friend at work who goes to New Orleans quite a bit. And I was telling him about Tibby's and he never heard of it. So then I pull up the locations and I'm like, shit, they're all in Florida.
Damn it. I like
but
New
so-
Orleans a lot better than Florida.
Do you
Yeah.
really?
hmm
I don't. So
I know.
if you're in Florida, go to Tibby's.
And experience New Orleans.
Yeah, they're kind of like, I think they're around the Tampa area and, Sarasota, Tampa Bay, that general area,
Gotcha.
middle Gulf Coast, Florida.
Well, that was a pretty big mistake.
Yeah, but now I'm looking forward to going there because that is where I go.
Like I said, I must have been drinking.
It's possible.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks.
We all make mistakes, Karen.
That's what I tell my kids all the time. It's not the first time and it won't be the last time that mom doesn't know what she's talking about.
All right, I believe this film was my choice. Was it not, Karen?
It was.
So this week I have chosen the film Invaders from Mars from 1953, Karen.
Yeah, this was an easy one to find, Greg.
It was an easy one?
No,
Oh,
I'm
it
being
wasn't. Oh.
sarcastic.
Okay. I know.
So remind everyone why you chose this.
Well, Karen, that the month of March, which is what we're in now, is named after the god of war, Mars, correct?
hmm
Which god is it? The Roman god of war, Karen.
Yeah, he's Roman.
Roman god of war.
Because the Greek one is Aries.
Yeah. And of course, there was also a planet named after the Greek god of war, Mars, called Mars. So I thought we should do a movie that featured Mars and Martians. So there you go.
Okay.
That's how my brain works, Karen.
Very complex.
Yes.
But you had those neurons firing. Way to go.
Yeah, I had to take a nap afterwards. So yeah, 1953 Invaders from Mars. And I do have a cocktail, Karen.
Excellent. What is it?
The cocktail
Okay.
I have chosen is called Life on Mars. I found that recipe on makemeacocktail.com. Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
Absolutely.
So we're going to need a highball glass.
Okay, I have that. Now
Okay.
what do I do?
We're going to need 1 ounce of coconut rum, 1 ounce blue curacao, 3 1/3 ounces lemonade,
Or as my sister likes to call it, limonade.
3 1/3, Karen, 3 1/3, not 3, not 3 1/2, 3 1/3, Karen. And then it says,
3.33.
yes. And then it says a small bottle of orange juice. So I figured that meant, top the glass off, right?
That's what I did too.
That's what I did. So you're going to add all the ingredients except the orange juice, Karen, to a glass with ice. Then once all the measured ingredients are in, then you pour the orange juice in, then you stir, you serve, and you what?
Enjoy, Greg.
Yes,
You get a little color change when you add the orange juice
you
instead.
do. Yeah, which is kind of
It's like
interesting.
magic.
Yeah, it turns from blue to green.
hmm Alien magic.
All right, Karen, should we give our listener time to gather their ingredients and make a Life from Mars cocktail? Pretty easy. Nothing, crazy about it, right?
Yeah, but it's magical.
Hold on.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Might you have a brief synopsis for us?
I do, Greg. It's very brief. Are you ready?
Please go on.
After a flying saucer lands in his backyard, a young boy sets out to save the townsfolk that have become the zombie-like puppets of alien invaders.
Thank you for that brief synopsis.
It's accurate, though. It is what happens.
All right, Karen, are we ready to get into this film?
I am. Are you?
I guess.
First, I'm going to say where I watched it.
Yeah.
Because it's not on Amazon Prime.
It is not.
So there is something called Tubi TV. It's TUBITV.com. And it was fine quality, I would say, for the film, but there are commercials in it. There are advertisements in it.
I watched it on YouTube, Karen. It was a little dark, I'll say.
I could see that.
All right, Karen. So the film opens with credits. And then there's a rather long soliloquy, Karen. Did you make note of what was said?
No, but in the credits, I did something catch my eye.
Yeah.
And it said wardrobe designed by, and all it said was Norma.
Norma?
And I kind of looked around to try to find out if that was a famous costume designer or something to go by the single name,
Yeah.
I couldn't find her.
Huh. Interesting.
It just stood out to me.
Yeah, the name that stood out to me was Leif Erikson. Sounded like a Viking. I don't know. That's why it stood out. Leif Erikson. He plays the dad.
Oh.
Kind of
No,
like
I didn't make a note of what
Leif
the narrator
Garrett, Karen. Leif Garrett, Karen, remember Leif Garrett?
I do. Did you write down everything the narrator said, or did you say like I did? Narrator talks about the heavens.
Karen,
biggest secret.
I did.
Life on other planets.
Would you like to know
the
what
answers are many scientists of all backgrounds and all ages?
Would you like to know exactly what they say, Karen?
I'm sure we all would love to know that. What does he say, Greg?
He says, the heavens once an object of superstition, awe, and fear, now a vast region for growing knowledge. The distance of Venus, the atmosphere of Mars, the size of Jupiter, and the speed of Mercury. All this and more we know, but their greatest mystery, the heavens have kept a secret. What sort of life, if any, inhabits these other planets? Human life like ours, or life extremely lower on the scale, or dangerously higher? Seeking the answer to this timeless question, forever seeking, is the occupation of scientists everywhere. Scientists famous and unknown. Scientists in great universities and in modest homes. Scientists of all ages. Thank you.
Very profound, Greg. Very profound.
And we zoom in on a telescope in a boy's bedroom out his window, and we see a boy sleeping. His alarm clock goes off, and it is 4 a.m., Karen. Next, we see his parents getting up because they think
it's the old kind. It's the old timey alarm clock with the bells on it.
Yes, 2 bells.
Yes.
Next, we see his parents. They begin to get up from their twin beds.
Separate twin beds, yes. Not even pushed together.
Yeah, because dad thinks it's time to go to work. But mom says, no, it's 4 a.m. And dad goes to the boys' bedroom and they look through a telescope at a nebula because apparently 4 a.m. is the best time to see it. Is that right, Karen?
Yeah, they're both very enthused about things in the sky. But then mom comes in all wet blanket on knowledge and says they have to go to bed.
Yeah, tells them both get back to bed for a couple hours. But they ain't going to sleep.
No, they won't fall back asleep until
at least
20 minutes before the alarm goes off.
Exactly. That's what I do. So then there's a thunderstorm. The boy awakens. It's like an hour later, 5 a.m. He's already back to sleep again, Karen. Less than an hour.
Kids can do that.
The boy runs to the window and he sees a flying saucer. And I have a quote here, Karen.
So do I. I think it's the same.
He says, gee whiz.
Gee whiz.
And the boy runs in and tells his father that something landed, right?
He sees it go into the earth, like it's hiding in the earth, he says.
Yeah, but
he does wake up his dad.
Yeah, Dad thinks the boy's dreaming and says they will investigate in the morning. And if they find anything, they will alert the police. So Dad goes back to his room and gets back in. Well, he sits on his twin bed there. And Mom wants to know what's going on. And Dad tells Mom about what the boy saw. And here's where we learn that apparently Dad works at a secret plant and he's supposed to report anything suspicious.
Yeah, Dad's going to go check it out. And Dad can't talk about work.
Nope.
Nobody knows what Dad's doing.
Top secret.
Highly classified.
Secret. And so he walks out, goes out to investigate. And I
said, did you write, he walks out onto the Wizard of Oz set?
Yes, that's exactly what I wrote. Looks like he's on the way to Oz.
Yes, I agree. Going to the sand pit, but it looks like he's in the movie The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why.
Absolutely, that's what it looks like.
Yes.
He's going down the yellow brick road.
Yeah, some weird.
But he sees something moving in the sand. ? I wrote.
Me too. I thought there was maybe a creature, but I was wrong. I think that was just a rock. It was a dark movie and I couldn't tell. It almost looked like a Han Solo type frozen person, in the graphite or whatever he's supposed to be frozen in.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes. Karen, Star Wars reference.
And, but it's not, it's just a rock.
Karen makes a Star Wars reference.
There's only.
He's frozen in carbonite, Karen.
Oh, carbonite. I said graphite. That's pencil lead. That wouldn't work. It's just sand. So their whole special effect is kind of making the sand twirl and make like a hole.
Yeah, it opens up.
Yeah.
It's like there's a hole there and they pull the trap door and the sand falls into the hole and then they close it. Right.
Yeah. Which is kind of ingenious, really, because instead of having to build a whole set, with a lot of like having the spaceship and be all exotic on the outside, they just say, oh, it's under the sand. So they save all that money. I thought that was pretty smart, really.
So Dad doesn't come home, Karen.
Nope. Everybody wakes up.
Next we see Mom in the morning and she walks outside in her
heels
and her duster.
What's that they call it?
Bathrobe. I don't know.
But you hear her heels clicking as she walks down the path.
And she yells for Dad, who is George.
Mm-hmm. But she doesn't go all the way up to the sand pit. She turns around, comes back.
She acts like she sees something and then she runs away.
She does act
Run
afraid.
Away, run away.
I'll get you, my pretty, because it's the Wizard of Oz set, but she looks afraid, frightened.
Yes. Next, we see Mom telling the police that her husband is missing.
And the cops insult scientists. Oh, did you catch that?
Well, no, but of course they ask all the, the hard questions,
Are you sure those scientists? Wow.
You ever run away before, ma'am?
Yeah. How's your marriage?
You two have a spat?
Yeah.
So the police go look for George, and they're not out there very long when they decide to give up, kind of. But then they find something of his, right? Is it a flashlight? Something? I don't know. But
yeah,
a flashlight.
A flashlight with his name on it.
One of those 4 D-cell battery flashlights, right? Just like.
And a slipper, I think they find too.
Find his shoe, yeah. Well, his slipper, because he's in his night clothes. And then the police get sucked under the sand, Karen, one by one. They disappear. They gone.
Well, yeah, no, they disappear. You're right.
So next we cut back to the home and hallelujah, Dad is home.
He's back and he's cranky.
He is cranky. Kind of a dick.
Yeah, get my coffee, woman.
That's right. Where's my coffee? Mom tells Dad she called the police. Dad ain't happy. He's pissed. And while all this is going on, the boy, David, notices a mark on the back of his dad's neck and asks him about it. And Dad says he cut it on barbed wire. And the boy says, there is no barbed wire out there. And Dad just bitch smacks the boy. Hey, shut up, kid.
Hauls off and smacks him.
Why you gotta be always asking me questions? Where's my coffee?
Dad's had a bit of a personality change.
Yes. So mom brings dad coffee.
Yeah, she doesn't witness the child being hit. She's in the kitchen getting the damn coffee because he's
Correct.
being a jerk about it. But she can tell something's off when she walks in.
Yeah, but she
just gives him the coffee.
She does. Like the kid's on the floor.
Well, and he's being a dick. And I know times have changed, but I don't think if you walked into your kitchen and said to your wife, "Get me the damn coffee," that your wife would be, "Okay, I'll go get it for you."
No,
She'd probably bitch
I would
slap
have
you.
cuts across my face from the coffee mug,
Right.
breaking across my skull. Probably. And if I hit her child, oh my God, it's over, right?
And you wouldn't have no damn coffee. Say that.
I know that. But mom does bring dad coffee.
Yeah.
And he holds it weird. He holds it like ass backwards. Right? He doesn't hold it like, with the...
He holds the top.
Yeah.
Kind of, not the handle.
He doesn't have his pinky out or nothing.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Then the policemen arrive, and they're both acting weird as well, Karen.
They act kind of like robots, all of them, a little bit without feeling and cranky.
But when they're talking to each other, they say, they talk like, "You know what I mean? Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you okay? You know what I mean? How are you? You know what I mean?"
But the cops aren't going to report anything, which is unusual because they've been out on the call.
And the boy tries to get a look at the back of their neck.
I think he does see it. They don't show it, but he acts like he's seen it.
Yeah, even as they're leaving, he goes to the window and watches them walk by and looks at the back of their necks.
Yeah.
Next, we see the boy, David, in the weeds with his telescope. And he's looking out to the sand dune again. And he sees a girl out there and she gets sucked into the sand. He runs to tell his mom, but dad stops him, tells him he should just mind his own business and go to Annie's house and play.
And don't be spreading false stories about the field.
So mom finally gets dressed, Karen.
Yeah, they're dressed up.
She comes in and she wants to go to town.
I think physically just go to town, not like go to town. Now that David's at Andy's house.
Physically go to town. I think they're physically going to town. I think she wants to go to town.
No, I think they're going shopping. But whatever. Because
that's what I mean, Karen. I don't know what you mean. What are you talking about? They're going into town to go to Woolworth's 5 and Dime.
Have a soda.
What do you think they're going to do, Karen?
Same.
All dressed up.
Same.
All right. But dad says there's something I want to show you to mom.
See, he wants to show her something.
But he takes her out to the sand.
And she's very reluctant. He's dragging her a little bit.
Next, we see David at the Wilson house because dad said he, visited with Mr. Wilson earlier in the morning. Right. And plus it was the Wilson girl that.
Yeah.
David
I think
saw
he's going
get
to
sucked
tell him
into the
about
sand.
Kathy.
Well, the first thing he asks is about Mr. Wilson, if he's there. And Mrs. Wilson says, no, he's out of town. And he says, but my dad said he saw him this morning.
Oh, I missed that. I thought he just wanted to talk to another adult. But I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. And then he tells Mrs. Wilson after that, oh, yeah, Kathy got sucked into the sand. She gone.
Oh, by the way.
Next thing we see is Kathy at the door with flowers.
Looking like the kid from The Omen or something. And mom is pissed at David.
That's going to be on my list, Karen. The Omen, just so you know. Coming soon. Mrs. Wilson is pissed at David.
Well, as you would be, of course. You just got told your daughter got sucked into a pit of sand.
So David runs away, but then he runs back and said, there's a fire in your cellar, Mrs. Wilson.
Your house is on fire. So she at first doesn't believe him.
No, but they go out there and there is smoke coming out their cellar. Turns out it's a gasoline fire and they cannot put it out with the water hose, Karen.
And they know who said it. She's
a neighbor
looking all
comes
Damien
along.
like.
A neighbor comes along and says, there's a gas can down there overturned. And Mrs. Wilson says, that can't be. We keep our gasoline in the garage. And the guy says, no, there's a gas can down there overturned. It's on fire. And Mrs. Wilson asks Kathy if she was playing in the basement. And she says, no, mother.
Mm-hmm.
As they do.
Damien like.
And then the boy runs away as Kathy smiles.
I just wrote David knows.
She's
He knows
creepy.
they got Kathy too.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's
Creepy
creepier when
kids.
kids are like that
Oh,
than when adults are.
I love creepy kids. They're the best.
It's always creepier when the kids are like that.
So next, the boy, David, calls the observatory,
Mm-hmm.
but the scientist is not there, Karen.
Yeah, I think he's asking for the big boss, Professor Kelps or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So the boy runs to the gas station. He tells the gas station attendant about what has happened, because that's where you go next, Karen, after the observatory.
Of
Go
course.
to the gas station.
Best thing.
And I get the feeling the gas station attendant believes him or wants to believe him, but he does want to make a phone call, and David thinks he's going to call his dad, so he runs away. Begs him not to call.
I think he is
runs
calling
away.
the parents because I think
Probably.
everybody thinks he's lost his mind, flipped his lid.
So next, David runs to the police station and he demands to talk to the chief. The chief comes out.
He runs down this long hallway in the police station to the front desk of the, and there's a guy sitting there and he's begging to see, I guess, to see the police chief. And I don't know, it's a receptionist
Desk
position,
clerk,
but
whatever
it's desk,
it is,
whatever. You can't talk to the chief. You have to tell me first what you want, and then I'll tell the chief and see if he wants to see you. And David's just begging him.
But the chief does come out and he's acting just like all the other creepy people.
And he's got the mark on his neck.
The chief asks the boy's name and if he is George McLean's son. Then the police chief goes to make a call and the boy sees the mark on the back of his neck. And the chief has the boy locked up until his father can come and get him.
So David makes a run for it. The front desk clerk grabs him. And then the police chief says, put him in holding until we can get a hold of his parents, which he does. But the front desk clerk, it has some empathy for the boy.
Yeah, you can tell he's scared of something. You know, it could be mom and dad, theoretically. So he calls a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Blake, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You'd be okay if Dr. Blake came to visit you in the holding cell.
Absolutely. I would absolutely be okay with that. So Dr. Blake comes to talk to David, but he says he won't say anything to her. Dr. Blake is a she, Karen, until he sees the back of her neck.
Yeah. So the cop that grabbed David, threw him in the cell, knew he was scared, so called the doctor instead of his parents. Doctor shows the back of her neck so they can talk. And then she asks the cop to leave so they can talk alone.
Correct. So David tells Dr. Patricia Blake his story.
And she is dressed really nicely. She has really nice shoes, pumps, black and white pumps, a white dress on.
She's a white dress. Yeah.
And lined stockings.
Ooh, does she?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice. She does have like a red rose or red flower or something.
Splotch on her white dress.
I don't know what it is.
There's a wine stain or something, but no. But yeah, she's pretty, but she's dressed really nicely.
Yeah. And David tells her the story and she seems to believe him.
Once they go to the sand pit, they come back different.
So the doctor leaves and locks David in the cell. Tells him not to worry, she'll be back. Next, we see the doctor and she's talking to the main desk clerk there or whatever. And she asks if 2 police officers had reported searching for David's father earlier. And he says no, but they should have if they did actually search for him. You know, they got to report all that shit, right? And the doctor...
He said in like what did he say? Quadrupulate or something like that, like a lot.
Yeah. Lots of paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
What he's getting at. And the doctor asks to use the chief's phone and he lets her. Next, we see Mom and she arrives to pick up David. And the doctor's in the chief's office and she is calling the observatory just like David did earlier.
She's seeking information about David.
Yes. And Mom and Dad arrive and they're going to take David from the police station. But Dr. Blake stops them because she's talked to the astronomer at the observatory.
Did you notice that they do a lot of close-ups, and whenever they do, everyone has really vivid blue eyes, almost like there's a color filter on the camera or something. You didn't notice it. A lot of blue-eyed people in this movie.
Okay.
So mom and dad are going to take David from a police station. Dr. Blake stops them and tells them that he is in her care. She tells them that he has all the symptoms of polio, Karen.
Yep. Needs to go to the isolation ward at the hospital.
That's right. Mom and dad decide not to make a scene and they leave.
Which would never happen today anyway.
I don't know. It's more likely today than then, I think.
Well, I guess. But if someone said they're going to take your kid and you can't, you just have to leave. I don't know.
Yeah. More today than then, I would say.
Well, today, but only because of pandemic.
Not even that. No.
Really?
No.
I don't think I'd leave.
More in the last 20 years than in 1950, I would say.
If my kid was going to go into...
If you weren't given a choice, you don't have a choice, Karen.
Well, they'd have
the doctor says...
They'd have to put me in the holding
care.
cells.
They're in my care.
But you would at least go with your kid to the hospital if they had polio symptoms. You wouldn't just leave.
I guess.
Like, oh, okay. Hope he doesn't have polio. See ya.
I guess.
I mean, that's a pretty serious thing.
Next, Karen, they go to see the astronomer, Dr. Blake and David, right?
Well, the doc says that the professor told her that David was the cold scientific type, not given to fancy.
Right.
So she kind of believes that.
That's why she believes him.
He's not making everything up.
Right.
He at least certainly believes what he's saying.
But they go see the astronomer. And when they get there, the astronomer calls the general to report what David saw.
Uses all kinds of special codes.
Yes. But the general is not available. No one's available on the first call in this movie, Karen. Did you notice that?
Yeah, nobody's around.
Yeah. But they always call back. Or they're always available on the second call. I don't know. So the astronomer gives us a crash course in the solar system and the movements of the planets.
Yeah, and the kid knows his stuff. The professor asks him a bunch of questions and he knows the answers to them. I don't know if they're correct or not. I don't know astronomy well, but...
Sounded right to me.
Yeah, he seems to know his shit.
So next they look through the big old telescope. And the astronomer talks about how some people believe Martians live under the ground, closer to the core of Mars, where it's warmer. Or in
he
spaceships.
He says, sorry to interrupt you, Mars doesn't have enough oxygen and is too cold to support human life as we know it. So there's theories that they live underground close to a heated core, like the Earth has a heated core. So, if you went underground, it would be warmer if you got close to that. Or they live in spaceships.
So they look through the telescope, but they're not looking at the stars, Karen. They're looking at a rocket, which is going to be shot from the secret base nearby.
Yep.
The astronomer seems to have all the answers, I wrote. He thinks the Martians might be there because they know the Earthlings are about to shoot a rocket into their area of space and maybe disturb their way of life or some shit. Am I right or no?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. And here's where we learn that the little girl, Kathy, is Dr. Wilson's daughter, he's the guy who designed the fucking engine for the rocket ship.
Well, and David's dad works at the plant where the motor was designed. So
it's all coming together, Karen.
Yep. You're starting to see all the connections.
All the pieces coming together. That's a big conspiracy. So they look through the telescope and they are looking at the sand dune next, and they see David's dad out there and he's with the general.
Yeah, he's called the general. That's why the general wasn't available when they called him.
Yes.
Because David's dad had called him earlier to come and take a look.
So they're out there and the general gets sucked under the sand, just like the rest of them.
George pushes him.
He doesn't push him. He just says...
Yes, he does. He pushes him.
He does like this thing with his hands.
No.
Go look.
He pushes him.
Then the astronomer calls the authorities again. And he talks to Colonel Fielding using all of his special code words, language, numbers, letters. And the colonel alerts the Pentagon. The Pentagon wants to send in soldiers, as they do, Karen. Then the colonel calls the police and he orders an all points alarm on Chief.
Well, but who's not available at the police station when he calls?
Chief.
Right.
Well, that's why he orders an all points alarm on the chief, David's mom, and Dad and General Marbury. All points alarm on all of them. Sounds serious. Next, we hear patriotic music as the Army loads tanks and armored vehicles onto train cars.
We get the Army montage
Yes.
with trucks and tanks.
Next, we see David telling the Colonel his story.
Poor David has to repeat this thing
over and over again.
Over and over.
But they go see Mrs. Wilson, and sadly, Karen, we learned that Kathy died from a cerebral hemorrhage. This planned and then dropped. She gone.
You want to know what a cerebral hemorrhage is? Or do you already know?
I know, but maybe our listener does not, Karen. Go on, please. Tell us.
Cerebral hemorrhage is bleeding that occurs within or around the brain tissue. Small arteries bring blood to the brain. If these arteries rupture, blood is released into the brain tissue. The blood forms a clot, which is what you hear when people say, has a subdermal hematoma. The hematoma is a clot, which can grow and exert pressure on the surrounding tissue. It's very rare in young children. Well, in older people, it's usually high blood pressure that causes it to happen. So we have that to look forward to.
So Dr. Blake wants to go to the hospital to look at the body of Kathy to see if she has the scar on the back of her neck like the others. Next, we see another
montage of
troops,
trains
carrying soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
The Colonel, the astronomer, and David are all up on the roof with binoculars, trying to identify exactly where General Marbury disappeared.
They don't really see anything, but David's telling them it's the sand pit, which is slowly, he keeps repeating that there used to be a full fence there. It's slowly kind of engulfing the area, part of the path, part of the fence. That area is sinking.
But Sergeant...
I just said soldier.
Rinaldi.
Yeah,
Sergeant Rinaldi decides to take a closer look. He leaves the roof.
They're hypothesizing that they have a radioactive ray that eats through the earth, and that's how they can get their ship underground.
Yes, they discuss how the ship could have possibly gone into the earth using a high-powered ray that could be used as a weapon.
It's a hypothesis, Greg.
Yes. But they really want the weapon to use for themselves, really. I get the feeling they want that weapon so they can have it, I think, as the military does. But they watch as Sergeant Rinaldi is pulled under the sand.
Yeah, because he goes to check it out. He does the whole belly crawl and everything over there. Like he knows better than anyone else. He's going to go see what's in this damn sand pit. And he's sucked in.
He does fire his rifle. Kind of looks like an M1 to me, Karen, but I'm not sure. It looks like
Yeah, I thought so too, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't get a good look.
He fires his M1 rifle, but he still gets sucked under. Has no effect.
Greg and I are both so excited that you're listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, and we would love to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion for us? Or possibly a favorite drink you'd like us to try? Or maybe you just want to say hi. If so, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show.
Next, Karen, we have another, what'd you call it?
Montage.
Troops on a train.
But they're starting to arrive.
Yes.
And they're going to secure all important areas and explore the sand pit. So they're finally there. They're arriving.
Next, we see the sand bar. I call it a sand bar, not a sand pit, Karen.
Oh,
but
sorry. Okay.
Whatever. And it's surrounded by searchlights. They're searching all over the sandbar, waiting for an alien to pop its head up so they can blow it off. But Dr. Blake arrives, and she has a piece of crystal and platinum that they found at the base of the little girl Kathy's skull. Some kind of mind control device, Karen.
Looks like a belly button ring or something, like a piercing bar. Maybe put through the top of your ear.
Maybe that's where they came from, Karen. Maybe they saw this and
I have an idea. That would look killer in someone's ear or through their nose.
Even before then, my mom, like, she used to have like stick pins, right? It was like a
stick pin. Yeah. Like a hat pin or a
yeah,
stick
put on
pin.
her
Yeah.
lapel with a pin
Yeah.
and had a thing there. Yeah, it's kind of look like that too.
But small.
Yeah. But the Army thinks they can reverse engineer it, Karen, as they always do. And they will be able to find out where the Martians are broadcasting from.
And this is all freaking David the fuck out because he knows that if Kathy could have a hemorrhage, then his parents could too.
What kind of hemorrhage, Karen?
You know, the bad brain kind.
He's concerned about mom and dad, as you would be, right?
I would be.
Next, we hear patriotic music again as the tanks and armored vehicles drive down the road.
Another montage.
Another montage.
On one of
There's
the
about
tanks,
15 minutes of montage in this film. This film could have been a lot shorter without all these montages. I'm just saying.
They're just really showing you the military's coming. But one of the tanks said old
America!
Ironsides. One of the tanks said old Ironsides. Is that something? It seemed familiar to me, but I didn't look it up. Is that? Does
Old
that mean
Ironsides is actually originally a battleship in the Revolutionary War.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what from my 8th grade studies last year. I probably heard that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was some.
I think there's been many old Ironsides from the Revolutionary War through the Civil War.
But it was obviously stock footage because the tanks are driving by and the soldiers driving the tanks are like pumping their arms.
Fists. Yes.
Like when you try to get the trucker to honk the horn when you were 8.
Yes.
That's what they were doing.
So the plant is called the Armstead Plant, apparently, and it's been blown up. That's where David's dad worked, right?
Yes.
And the policemen under the Martians' control are there, and they collapse and die.
Yeah, the MPs come. These 2 cops are surrounded. They can't really go anywhere. So the first one drops dead right away. And the second one's like, hey, he was just fine a second ago. What? And then he goes,
He's gone too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And David's getting more freaked out.
So, and they figured
when
the
they talk
police
about
officers were the ones who blew up the plant. And now they're
Right.
both dead by cerebral hemorrhages, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And David does not want his parents to die too. It's what I wrote here. He's concerned. Searchlights on the rocket, Karen. That's what we have next. And as they're
Those are
searching
cool
around,
big spotlights. They're really cool. They look like movie film lights. The guy's up on a scaffolding. It's a huge light, bigger than his head, and he's moving it around looking for stuff. It's pretty cool.
looks like G.I. Joe searchlights to me, Karen, from when I was a kid. They find General Mayberry, Karen. The MPs try to stop the general, but he runs away.
He's with the police chief.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. They both run away.
Yeah, it was a
and
uniformed guy. I couldn't tell.
And they have suitcases.
Suitcases, yes. Attaché cases, Karen.
And the MPs shoot at the cases.
And they explode. And the MPs deduce that there must have been nitroglycerin in their suitcases. They believe they were going to try to blow up the rocket, I guess, right?
Instead, they're both blown up.
Yes. Next, tanks arrive and surround the sand dune. And the military begins digging in the sand dune. They're going to put some explosives down in there or some shit.
C2 charges, they say.
Yes, C2.
And then there's a tank montage.
As opposed to C4, Karen.
Oh, did I write the wrong thing?
No, I think they said C2, but
I thought they did, but
nowadays they would use C4.
well, we're much more advanced now.
Twice as advanced and
Hold
blowing
on.
shit up.
Did you notice in the tank montage that some of them were in the daytime and some of them were in the nighttime? Just random.
No, well,
Random stock
maybe.
footage.
Yeah, I don't know.
But David's starting to lose it at this point.
But next we're in the laboratory and we see Dr. Wilson. And even though his daughter just died, he would prefer to work, Karen.
He says he's always worked at night,
Yes.
but he seems upset. So we don't know if he's become one of them or not, but it doesn't seem
I
like
couldn't
he
tell.
has.
It was borderline for me. I couldn't tell.
I think we were supposed to wonder.
Yeah. So next we see David's mom arrives at the restricted area outside I don't know, where they're shooting the rocket off. And she says that her car is broke down and she asks the MP to open the hood and jiggle some wires, Karen. So while the MP's doing that, Dad comes out and hits the MP on the head. MP stands for military police, Karen, if you didn't know.
I did, but thanks.
So he takes his rifle and runs towards the building, and he tells wife to keep the engine running.
Which is important.
And they're like Bonnie and Clyde now. So he runs over and he takes a shot at Dr. Wilson, but Dr. Wilson ducks.
Well, he dropped a piece of paper.
He dropped a piece of paper just as he fired.
Yes.
So Dad runs back, jumps in the car, and they speed away, and they are chased by military jeeps. 2 of them, actually.
Right. And now all of a sudden, Dad's driving. Did you notice that?
Did not.
Yeah. As they rounded the curb. So they're being chased. It's a high-speed chase, but when they go around the curb, Dad's driving.
Did not notice.
Well, he's not driving well because...
No, because they crash, Karen.
Yes.
And are captured by the MPs. The MPs take Mom and Dad to the hospital, or they send them to the hospital. Next, we see the military putting their C2, half as good as C4, Karen, explosives into the
So they'll
sand
need twice as many.
to blow up the alien ship or whatever they think is down there. A man very close to the explosives pushes the plunger down,
Yep.
and it explodes. If that would have been C4, he'd be gone. But maybe if it's C2, he's not. I don't know.
But the old lever with the box underneath pushes it down.
Yeah, the plunger. That's what I said.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you.
So they find a chamber underneath the ground there, Karen. And the colonel goes down to investigate. He's the first one in, Karen. The
He
colonel.
drops in.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's leading his men into battle.
Looks like a bunch of bubbles to me.
And the rest of them drop down by rope and join the colonel. But they find nothing in the chamber, and they pull them all back up from the rope. They think the Martians have moved to another spot.
Yeah, they've moved on.
They pull out some sort of metal detector.
Weird. They were like tracking vibrations or something. I don't know. But it's a
I don't know what
metal
they're doing.
detector looking thing. Or like
or a probe. Or a meat thermometer. I don't know what it is. And they look for the Martians. Next, Dr. Patricia Blake gets a call from the hospital, Karen. They are operating. Yes, they are operating on David's parents. And Dr. Blake takes David on a walk. Let's go for a walk.
She flat out says, your parents aren't dead. They're in surgery.
They're in surgery. Yeah, they're going to have a special brain surgeon come in and operate on them, but he's an hour away, but he's en route. David's concerned. Music plays, and this is the first time I even note that they hear something every time the sand opens up, right?
Yeah, but I think it's inconsistent.
It's like, ah!
It's like choir music or something.
I don't know. Yeah. And Dr. Patricia Blake and David are sucked into the sand.
They're a little off from where the original people were sucked into the sand. So the aliens have moved, 6 feet?
Maybe 12. David and Dr. Blake awake to see the Martians, and Dr. Blake screams like for a second. She it's more of a gasp, I guess. But the Martians pick up the Dr. Blake and David and carry them through the tunnels.
Do we see the baby in the bubble here?
Coming, yes.
No. They do say mutants. They're mutants instead of mutants. Couldn't figure out.
The Martians have a ray gun that they fire, and they
burst all the bubbles.
Tunnel. Well, and they cave in the tunnel, so it collapses, so no one can get to them. And we see the military on the surface again with their metal detector.
Okay, but wait. So all these aliens are running around,
whatever,
in the tunnels, and the way they're running, look like they dropped a load in their pants.
They're huge too.
Like they're running, but they look like they've got a big diaper with a load in it.
Well,
it's just weird.
They're in cheap Gilman costumes. They're
yes.
Right?
Yes.
They're kind of dressed like Creature from the Black Lagoon, only like cheap costumes.
What was that thing when we were kids? That show that they had slee stacks,
Land of the Lost.
and those were the
Slee stacks. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that looked like that.
Yes. Yes, they did, Karen. I'm impressed that you know that.
I watched cartoon. I watched Saturday morning stuff. What's
Slee
that one?
stacks?
Yeah, but they kind of had that look. But they
did.
couldn't move. They lumbered around. They didn't move gracefully at all.
But eventually the military finds them with their rod, I wrote.
Well, the doc passes out, so they're carrying the kid who's screaming for the colonel, and the doctor's no good to anybody. She just passed out.
And they begin to dig. And here's where next I have Dr. Blake has passed out.
They're going from the army to the doctor and the kid, back and forth, back and forth. So you're seeing the army making some progress, but we're seeing the doc and David being run through these tunnels.
David wakes up Dr. Blake. Sergeant Rinaldi is there and asks them their names, asks them what they are doing up above. And here's where I made a note, Karen, that Dr. Blake is showing a lot of shoulder.
Yeah,
her dress is torn.
I didn't note that, Greg.
Yes, I did.
I noted that Sergeant Rinaldi is talking to them because this octo baby in a bubble is using him to talk to them. Like he's talking through Sergeant Rinaldi to them. It's this silver painted head with octopus arms inside a lucite ball.
Oh, that is, as they explain, Karen, mankind developed twice its ultimate intelligence. That's what they call them.
Well, it's mankind developed to its fullest intelligence, surrounded by slaves, existing to only do his will.
He's in a glass bowl. I don't know.
So then they go to the army, dropping in the hole. The slaves pick up the doc and put her on the metal slab. Back to the army.
Yeah.
Coming. The Rinaldi takes David. The army blows shit up.
Well,
David
first
escapes from Rinaldi.
Oh, David punches at the man in the glass bowl.
Oh, that's true.
And he's mad. He's like, whack, 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 whack. And they put Dr. Blake on a table and hit her with a beam of light. Next, they flip Dr. Blake over, Karen.
They do.
Flip her over.
On the metal slab.
Yes. And begin the process of inserting the brain control device into the base of her skull, I assume. It's moving very slowly, but it is moving towards her.
It is quite slow.
Yes. And David yells, and the military men hear him. And they shoot one of the Martians, but it keeps coming. They shoot again and it drops. And then they run past them. And after they do, the Martian gets back up. And the mind control device is slowly making its way to Dr. Blake. Next, two of the Martians carry away the head in the glass bubble. Right?
Yep.
The leader, whatever the hell he is. The military arrive and fight with the Martians. They arrive in time to save Dr. Blake. Dr. Blake and the astronomer embrace Karen.
Yeah, I think they're
like
getting
they have
a love connection. Yep. But they don't really show. So I was wondering if she was implanted, but I guess she wasn't.
She wasn't. No. The Martians are about to take off. The army sets up demolition charges to blow the thing back to Mars, they say. The astronomer carries Dr. Blake topside. David's still down there.
He's missing with Rinaldi.
Yes. And the military's looking for this is very confusing from here on.
They're looking for
lots of
Rinaldi.
tunnel shots. I don't know what's going on.
They're looking for Rinaldi.
Rinaldi.
The soldier.
Right.
Who has David because he's now a slave to the octo baby thing.
Why are they looking for Rinaldi? He's already been turned.
Because they can save him. They can pull the thing out of his skull.
Can they?
Well, David better hope so.
Why did they give a shit?
No man left behind.
I suppose. All right.
Yeah, but it is confusing. There's lots of tunnel shots.
Yeah.
But they're setting the charges in one part where they're going to blow everything up. But there are all these tunnels and they're back and forth between aliens running and Rinaldi and David running and the army running.
Yes. But we do hear the emergency retreat whistle, Karen.
Right. And then the army blows up the tunnel to the charge they're setting so that the aliens can't stop it from blowing up.
Yes,
And
they
then
set the
aliens
timer on the charge for 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
That I say that will give us plenty of time to get to the surface.
Except the aliens use this specific red ray gun
Yes.
to blow things up, and they block the escape of the army. So the army's blocked in the tunnel from their own explosion and from the aliens' explosion.
Correct.
And I love that the guy says, we have 3 minutes. Start digging.
Digging. Yeah, they start digging. The Martians chase after them, and they use their ray gun to collapse the tunnel too. Again, eventually the military finds David and Rinaldi. I don't know why they give a shit about Rinaldi. I still don't get that, but whatever. And one of them says, how much time now? And one of them says, 2 minutes. Then the next thing we hear is, how much time now? 90 seconds.
Yeah, they have 90 seconds.
But David finds one of the Martian ray guns that they discarded, and he brings it to cut a hole through the tunnel so they can escape.
And they let David show him how to use it.
Yeah.
Can you use it? Yeah. So he does. He blasts the hole.
They make it to the ladder and they climb up.
It's a long 90 seconds, people.
It is.
It's like the 90 seconds it takes you to give a speech in front of class or something. It's like forever.
And we see the spaceship trying to escape through the sand.
It's tried to lift up. The tanks are firing at it.
Yeah, everyone tries to get away before the explosion. So
And
we're all
David's
running away.
David's running and running.
And David has flashbacks about everything that has happened in the movie so far.
David's life flashes before his eyes.
God, this whole scene took over 2 minutes of him
That's
running.
what I wrote. This is a long ass 90 seconds.
He's just running, seeing the whole movie. We could have watched this part and been done.
Right. We'd know what happened.
But anyway, then we keep going back to the timer ticking down too, right? To fire. Like it ticks down and then it's fire. So you know, it's fire time. More flashbacks running. And then we have explosions because it finally hit fire, Karen.
Everything blows.
Next, we see David in his bed, awakened by the sound of lightning.
So he's back at
much
the
like
storm.
explosions. Right?
Yes.
And he runs in to see his mom and dad in their twin beds. And
it was all a dream.
Tell him he's just dreaming, and he runs back to his room and cut to the scene where he's seeing the flying saucer landing again.
And what does he say?
Gee whiz.
Gee whiz. So it's Groundhog Day. So I couldn't figure out, did they try to erase his memory, or is it going to start over again until they get the response that they want? Until they're able to make it work.
I don't know, Karen.
I thought it was a cool ending, actually.
It's the end.
Well, because you could sequel.
All right, Karen. Anything you were pleasantly surprised by in this wonderful film from
1956?
1953, Karen.
Oh, crap. So close.
Anything?
I liked the ending. I thought it was, at first I was very disappointed.
Very open-ended.
Because I thought, oh God, it was a dream. That's stupid. I was like, oh, that's so stupid. I can't believe I sat through this whole thing and they're going to tell me it was a dream. But then the next scene where he sees the UFO
more than
again,
just a dream. Yeah.
It's Groundhog Day.
It's Groundhog Day, yeah.
So I thought that was clever. I liked it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Before Groundhog Day was a thing, Karen.
True. But that's what we call it.
That's what you call it. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm calling it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Never seen Groundhog Day.
But you know what
personally.
I mean.
I know what you mean.
The reference.
I get it. Yeah. I get the reference. Yes.
That's pretty much it.
That's all?
That's pretty much it.
You didn't like Dr. Patricia Blake?
I was not pleasantly surprised by her. No.
I wasn't either.
What were you pleasantly surprised by?
Not a lot, Karen. I can't think of much.
You didn't think the ending was kind of clever?
Well, no.
Especially for back then.
It pissed me off. I do agree that it was kind of smart to like make the Martians underground so you wouldn't have to have like some big like set or anything, you know. It was smart. I'm sure that was, I was pleasantly surprised by that, but it was smart. Right?
All you need was your kid's sandbox.
Yeah, I wasn't pleasantly surprised by anything in this film.
Ooh, tough.
Maybe back to Dr. Patricia Blake, how, she took charge and said, no, he's in my care now, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. I thought the kid was a pretty good actor.
Yeah. Jimmy Hunt.
I wasn't annoyed by him. A lot of times I'm annoyed by kids
either
in film, but he was pretty good, I thought.
Oh, and then in the 1986 remake of this film, he plays the police chief.
That's nice.
Yeah. So he was in a lot of films in the 50s, early 50s, and then he came back and did that 86 thing. So he was a child actor. He didn't act just as a child. Yeah, I can't think of anything I'm pleasantly surprised by in this film.
Well, then your list of what you're disappointed in is probably long.
Well, I don't know. What about yours, Karen? Anything you were disappointed in?
I was kind of disappointed in all the military montages of the stock film. And, they just kept using the same ones over and over. And they did it with the tunnel footage too, with the aliens.
They did. I noticed that.
Where they kept using it over and over. And it seemed a little unnecessary. So
it's like they were trying to add time.
Yeah.
It would have been fine as an hour movie.
Stretch it out, stretch it out. Like somebody's going, come on, stretch it out. So I would say that.
I needed to
and the
see.
Alien costumes were just terrible. I didn't like them, but it's the 50s, so who can say?
Yeah, I needed to see more of Dr. Blake, Karen.
Than just the shoulder, or you
Yes.
mean screen time? Which way you talking there?
Yes, Karen.
Oh, okay.
And this was her last film. The actress who played Dr. Blake, this was her final film. After this film, she, like the other actress we talked about in Voodoo Woman, right? She got married and retired.
Interesting. Well, she left on a high point. Left you wanting more, Greg.
I suppose. I don't know. Anything else you were disappointed in?
Well, like I said, the alien costumes were pretty bad. The reuse of footage over and over. But overall, I wouldn't say it's a good movie.
No, I agree. I mean, I wasn't really mad at anything, but there's nothing I was really happy about either, right?
No, I think it could have been done in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times does David have to explain what happened to another adult? There's like 6 of those. The montages. Could have left
the whole gas station guy out. They didn't need to do that.
They didn't need him. The whole military montage thing was
about
ridiculous.
5 times.
Yeah. So like I said, could have been done in 40 minutes. The story's not terrible.
Playing whatever that was, patriotic. What it sounded like it sounded like the Marine Corps theme or some shit to me.
The story's kind of cool that they would implant some device where they could control your actions, and then when they were finished with you, with the snap of a finger, your brain explodes and you're dead. That's kind of cool story for a movie, but it just didn't. It was too long at 1 hour and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Was the song over there?
They alluded to it, but it was not that song, but they did allude to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there was no soundtrack, but
what were your disappointments in this one?
Besides
more Patricia. That's it?
Yeah, and I agree. I could have done without all the military montages, the stock footage, the Martians in the tunnel playing the same thing over again, like within 30 seconds. I can tell it's the same footage. It was just 30 seconds.
Plus, we get it. The military's coming.
And then the Martians, like I said, I just saw that 30 seconds ago. I know I'm seeing it again. Right?
Yeah. Could have been done. This is another one we could have done.
Yeah, and it would have been better. Could have kept everything the way it was, except for that shit, right? The kid was good. All the acting was good, I thought, right?
Yeah, there was nothing distracting.
People acted like dicks. when they did very well, and they acted like, Ma and Pa, like
military dudes and
even before they became
scientists.
dicks, they were like, Ozzy and
And the
Harriet.
girl I thought was especially good.
Well, we didn't see her before she turned into it.
Well, but she played her part well.
She did.
So, but the movie itself was bad.
Yeah.
Maybe is that directing? I don't know. Is it script? I don't
know.
Who makes those kind of decisions, but
I don't know. I'm guessing this film probably did well, though. The British ending was different, apparently, Karen. In the British ending, the Martian saucer explodes overhead. They blow it up.
There's no sequel in that.
Mom and Dad are safe. Dr. Blake tells David that Mom and Dad are safe. And in David's bedroom, he's being put to bed by Dr. Blake. So the British ending had more Dr. Blake, Karen, apparently.
Well, there you go.
And then the scene dissolves and it's the end. So, all right, Karen, what do you think about this Life on Mars cocktail?
It's good. It's the kind of cocktail I like. There's a little bit of mixer in it. So
it reminds me of the Shark Lady.
Yeah, I think the Shark Lady had more alcohol in it, though, didn't it?
Maybe.
More rums. I think it had light rum and dark rum.
Probably.
I think it had a lot more rum in it. But yeah, it's similar.
Okay.
This one's a little lower alcohol.
What kind of cocktail rating are we going to give this film? Invaders from Mars from 1953. How many cocktails did it take you to get through it, Dr. Karen?
I'd say 4.
Giving it a 4?
Yeah. Or would you give it a 5? I think a 4 is.
Oh, 4 is fair. 4 cocktails. And remember, boys and girls, on our scale, the higher the cocktail rating, the worse the film is. Right, Karen?
Takes a little more alcohol to get through it.
Yes. Anything we learned today, Karen?
What did we learn today? We learned about cerebral hemorrhage. Oh my God, I can't say it. We learned I can't say it. Cerebral hemorrhaging.
Mm-hmm.
I used a Star Wars reference.
You did. I'm so
I don't know if it'll
you.
stay in there, but there's a little bit about space, the professor and the
yeah, there is in the film. We didn't go into it much.
No, but we learned we had similar childhoods because we both said that's the Wizard of Oz set. That
looked like I think it was a similar painting. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but you get that visual clue in your brain, and we both went right there. So something.
Wow. So the Wizard of Oz is a 1939 film. So that's way before this, right? There's no way they would use the same sets or anything, you would think, right?
No, it must have been lighting or something. But
yeah, like I said, it looked like a painting, a matte painting that reminded me of the Wizard of Oz, as it did you, apparently. Anything else, Karen?
I don't know. I can't think of anything else. That's not good.
All right. Next movie, Karen. Episode 49 of the Scary Spirits podcast. What are we doing?
Well, you've inspired me.
Oh, I'm honored, Karen. Thank you.
Per usual.
Go on.
We're going to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956.
Okay.
I've never seen it, and I want to see how it compares to this one.
Okay. So that's why you chose it?
Yeah.
Just to compare it to Invaders from Mars?
Yeah, I want to see if this is done a lot better. Or is Invaders from Mars, is it an independent film? Was it a studio film? Do you know?
It's produced by National Pictures Corporation, distributed by 20th Century Fox.
So I guess okay.
So yeah, and I know that I did kind of do some research on the actress who played Patricia Blake.
What? You did?
I did.
Wow.
And she was a Universal actress, but she was loaned out to many other studios, but she had a contract with Universal. And as I said, this was her final film. So you want to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers just to compare it with Invaders from Mars. 3 years apart, right?
Yeah.
1956.
Not the remake. The 1956 version.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No. Do we have a cocktail for that film, Karen?
We do. We have a
Okay.
pretty unimaginative cocktail, but we have one.
Go on.
It's called the Alien Cocktail.
Okay. What are we going to need?
You're going to need 1 part Midori melon liqueur,
Mm-hmm.
1 part Malibu coconut rum,
Mm-hmm.
and 1 part pineapple juice.
Okay.
Shake, shake, shake.
Go on.
Pour it into martini glass.
Okay.
Chilled martini glass.
Okay, so Invasion of the Body Snatchers is roughly the same run time, right? 80
Yeah,
minutes.
I'm just curious because I'd never heard of the movie that you chose,
Mm-hmm.
but I've absolutely heard of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I wanted to see what about this one made it so much more well known.
The Body Snatchers is based on a novel. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers is based on a novel called The Body Snatchers. So that might be something
So
right
I
there.
guess it's different because the aliens are actually, I assume, going into the bodies, whereas in this movie, it was just that little probe that they put in the base of their neck. They were controlled by the alien, but the alien wasn't wearing the meat suit of the person.
Don't know. Never seen it.
I assume it will be much different, but similar.
Okay. Yes, Invasion of the Body Snatchers was a much higher budgeted film, about twice as much as Invaders from Mars. Seems like a bigger production thing, right?
Yeah, and it's another one of the films that seems like I should have seen.
All right. Anyone you need to thank, Karen?
Well, of course, I'm going to thank all our listeners, but I am going to specifically thank Mary Brady and Denise Croy again for liking all of our social media posts. And Tammy Benton, thank you so much. We do like likes.
Yes.
When you like and comment, more people see us. So we appreciate it. Helps us grow the podcast, helps people find us. What about you, Greg? Who do you have to thank this week?
Karen, I need to once again thank the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
They do make the podcast better.
Yes, they do. All right. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.